In 1950, Toyota was producing cars so unreliable they couldn't be given away in America. The doors didn't seal, the engines overheated. American dealers laughed at the idea of selling one. 15 years later, Toyota was outperforming every American manufacturer on the planet. And they did it without better engineers, better factories, or more money. They did it with one question, a 5-second question asked by every single employee, every single day. I'll share that question with you before this video ends. But first, you need to understand why everything you've been taught about improvement is backwards. Post-war Japan and Deming's arrival. In 1945, Japan was in ruins. 2 atomic bombs, 67 cities firebombed, the country's industrial base was destroyed. Toyota, originally a loom company founded by Sakichi Toyota, had pivoted to making trucks during the war. Trucks so stripped down, they had one headlamp and brakes on only one axle. After the surrender, the company was nearly bankrupt. They couldn't afford raw materials, let alone warehouses full of spare parts. They had nothing. And then, an American showed up. His name was W. Edwards Deming. He was a statistician, not a businessman, not a motivational speaker, a statistician. In America, almost nobody listened to him. His idea was simple, but radical. Stop inspecting products at the end of the line. Instead, build quality into every single step of the process. Improve the process itself, continuously, obsessively, permanently. American manufacturers ignored him. They were making money hand over fist. Why fix what isn't broken? But Japan was broken, and broken people listen differently. In 1950, Deming gave a series of lectures to hundreds of Japanese executives, engineers and managers. He told them something no one else was saying. Quality doesn't cost more, quality costs less, because every defect you prevent is a repair you never pay for. Every improvement you make to the process is a problem that never reaches the customer. The Japanese didn't just hear this, they absorbed it. They built entire systems around it. And one company, Toyota, would take Deming's ideas further than even he imagined. Here's where most people get the story wrong. They hear Kaizen and think it means 1% better every day. That's the internet version. It's not wrong, but it's hollow. It strips out everything that made Kaizen actually work. The word itself is 2 Japanese characters. Kai means change. Zen means good. Change for the better. But the philosophy isn't about willpower, it's about systems. In the early 1950s, a machinist named Tai-Ichi Ono was working as an assembly manager at Toyota. He visited Ford's River Rouge plant in Michigan, the largest factory on Earth at the time. He was impressed by the scale but horrified by the waste. Ford kept operations running at full speed to maximize output. When defective cars rolled off the end of the line, teams of workers fixed them after the fact. Ono saw this and thought, this is insanity. So he did something no factory had ever done. He put a cord above every single workstation on the assembly line. Any worker, not a manager, not an engineer, any worker, could pull that cord and stop the entire production line. The most expensive, time-sensitive operation in the factory, shut down by a 20-year-old on the floor. Why? Because Ono believed that the moment you notice a problem is the cheapest moment to fix it. Let it pass, and it multiplies. Let it reach the customer, and it becomes a crisis. At first, the line stopped constantly, dozens of times per day. Managers panicked, but something unexpected happened. Each time the line stopped, a team gathered around the problem, found the root cause, and fixed it permanently, not with a patch, but at the source. After 6 months, the line almost never stopped. The problems had been solved at their origin. This is Kaizen. Not a slogan. A system where every person in the organization is expected, required to find and fix problems before they grow. The assembly line workers who changed everything. Here's the part that separates Kaizen from every self-improvement trend you've ever seen. It wasn't driven by executives, it was driven by the people closest to the work. Toyota created what they called quality circles. Small groups of workers with the same job who met regularly to identify problems and propose solutions. Not suggestions, solutions. A welder on the floor could redesign how a part was held. A painter could change the sequence of the color application process. A logistics worker could reroute how components arrived at a station. In most American factories at the time, workers were told exactly what to do and punished for deviation. At Toyota, workers were told, "You know this process better than anyone. What would you improve?" And they did. Thousands of micro-improvements per year. Most were tiny. A repositioned tool holder that saved 3 seconds. A new grip angle that reduced fatigue. A shelf moved 6 inches closer to where it was needed. None of these made headlines, but compounded across every station, every shift, every week. The cumulative effect was devastating to every competitor who relied on top-down genius instead of bottom-up attention. By the 1960s, Toyota's defect rate was a fraction of its American competitors. By the 1970s, during the oil crisis, while American automakers scrambled, Toyota's efficient, waste-free system thrived. By the 1980s, MIT researchers studied Toyota and published a report that called it the machine that changed the world. They had to invent a new word for what Toyota had built. They called it lean. So, what was the question? Tai-Chi Ono distilled the entire philosophy into something any human being could ask themselves at the end of every single day. One question, 5 seconds. What is one small thing I can improve? Not, what is the big breakthrough? Not, how do I transform everything overnight? One small thing. Today. That's it. Masaki Imai, the consultant who later brought Kaizen to the Western world, expanded this into a principle he repeated for 40 years. The starting point for improvement is to recognize the need. If no problem is recognized, there is no recognition of the need for improvement. In other words, the first step isn't motivation, it's attention. Just notice what isn't working. Then make it 1 degree better. This is why Kaizen makes failure impossible. Because failure requires an endpoint. A moment where you tried something big, it didn't work, and you quit. Kaizen has no endpoint. There is no finish line to fail at. There is only today's question and today's answer. Here's how you apply this tonight. Not next month. Tonight, practice 1. The evening audit. Before bed, ask Ono's question, what is one small thing I can improve tomorrow? Write it down. 1 sentence, not a goal, not a plan, a single adjustment. I'll put my phone in the other room before I start working. I'll prep coffee the night before so I don't waste the first 20 minutes of my morning. 1 sentence, do it the next day, then ask the question again. This is the quality circle. But you are the entire team. Practice 2. The 5 why drill. The next time something goes wrong in your day, you miss a deadline, you lose your temper, you waste an afternoon, don't stop at the surface. Ask why 5 times. I missed the deadline. Why? I started too late. Why? I was avoiding the task. Why? I didn't know where to begin. Why? I never broke it into steps. Why? Because I told myself I'd figure it out later. Now you have the root cause. And the root cause is almost never what you think it is on the surface. Oh no, use this with Toyota engineers. You can use it with your own habits. Practice 3. The 2-minute Kaizen. Borrowed from productivity, research but perfectly aligned with the philosophy. If an improvement takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Don't write it down. Don't schedule it. Wipe the counter now. Reply to that email now. Reorganize that one drawer now. Every small completion closes an open loop in your brain. 10 closed loops a day and your mind is running clean, like a production line with no defects passing through. These 3 practices sound almost insultingly simple. That's the point. Kaizen doesn't ask you to be extraordinary. It asks you to be 1% more attentive than you were yesterday, and it trusts that compounding will do the rest. A country in ruins, a factory that couldn't sell a single car overseas, and one question, asked by every employee every day for decades. That's how Toyota became the most valuable automaker on the planet, not through genius, through attention. You don't need a better plan. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to wait for Monday, for January, for some mythical right time. You need one question and the honesty to answer it. What is one small thing you can improve today? That question is free. It takes 5 seconds. And if you ask it every day for the rest of your life, you cannot fail. Because you're not trying to reach a destination. You're building a system that gets better every single day. That's not a philosophy. That's a mathematical certainty. If this changed how you think about improvement, subscribe to this channel. Every Tuesday and Friday I share stories like this. Real people and real systems that actually work. No hype, no shortcuts, just what's been proven. I've linked the 4 books that tell this story in full, including Masaki Imai's original book that brought Kaizen to the West and Jeffrey Liker's breakdown of Toyota's production system. All in the description. Tell me in the comments, what is one small thing you can improve today? Not this year, not this month. Today. I read every single comment. Drop yours below. I'll see you in the next one.